You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, GH fans. So Molly Lansing stayed out late the other night drinking with Dex Heller, and based on some red flags, we got to ask if they hit the sheets. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about the warning signs of a mistake that could ruin two couples and change the game in Port Charles. And hey, please subscribe if you're not following us. So you'll recall Molly and TJ Ashford have been on a rough road for a while with their relationship, pretty much almost since the time their surrogate lost the baby, the first surrogate. And then Kristina pushed herself at them to be their new surrogate, and it has been pretty much nonstop rocky since that point. Molly initially didn't even want to consider it because she thinks Kristina is flighty, irresponsible, selfish, and that's pretty much what she's proven to be. And then Molly and TJ talked it through, and then they decided to accept her offer, but they had doubts all along. The lure to use Kristina was that she and Molly are half sisters. So a baby from Kristina's egg would have, 50% of TJ's DNA and then some of Molly's DNA too, unlike a surrogate stranger using their egg. And if you remember, Alexis was against this from the start because the laws in New York are not very friendly when the non-biological adoptive mother tries to, wants custody of the baby that the surrogate delivered. It's all about the egg. Legally, that baby would have been Kristina and TJ's kid at the time of birth, and Kristina would have to sign over papers terminating her parental rights so that Molly could then officially adopt. But Kristina refused to sign the papers that Molly brought her. And even worse, Kristina turned around and got her own legal papers so that she could sue TJ for sole custody of their baby. Kristina all along was trying to find a reason to keep the baby. One of her constant issues was she thought Molly and TJ were about to break up. Molly got really upset at her. If you don't remember, she pointed out to Kristina that the only thing they argued about was her causing them problems. And, Kristina brought a lot of stress into their lives, being very difficult with the surrogacy. Aside from that, they were fine. They are solid. They've been together a long time, The second thing is Kristina was trying to argue at one point that she and Blaze would be a more stable set of parents, but that wasn't valid either because Kristina and Blaze broke up. And then, of course, once the baby died, it would have been a non-issue, except Molly saw the custody lawsuit papers in Alexis's briefcase. And TJ just told Stella and Curtis how hard it's been to connect with Molly and work through their grief together. And TJ said he's wound up working longer hours because Molly has been avoiding him pretty much constantly. So that's the setup for this possible one-night stand between her and Dex. Molly was over at the Brown Dog Bar drinking and stressing out about the baby loss. She had ultrasound photos. She was all up in her grief, upset about Alexis being in jail because of Kristina, and worried sick that her mom is going to go down for a crime she didn't commit. All that, plus the relationship issues with TJ, had Molly looking for some chill in a bottle of booze. And then Dex joined her and they had a nice chat. But then it kind of ended abruptly with no closure. Like usually you'd see Molly saying goodnight to Dex, saying, I got to get home, or Dex saying, oh, I got to go meet Josh. See you later. That was my first red flag, that the scene ended abruptly with no closure. And that has me asking, was something just cut? Was it a sloppy edit? Or does it mean something that's coming soon on GH? The second red flag was Dex asking how Molly's doing and her telling him, nobody asked me that. Like, he's the first person that's checked on her. She is feeling kind of shortchanged in terms of condolences because more people think that Kristina is grieving than her, just based on how she's feeling, whether that's true or not. Because, the baby was in Kristina's belly and then passed away, and then the baby was biologically TJ's. Molly was going to have to adopt the baby, and they've been very frustrated. She and TJ have even talked about it, that, their grief is real, but at the funeral, Kristina kind of soaked up everything and then was calling the baby by another name. And it was just so messy. It's obviously they're all three grieving. The whole family's grieving. But Molly was talking to Dex about signs that the universe didn't want her to have a baby, like infertility because of her endometriosis, then the surrogate miscarrying, and then her sister Kristina flying through a window and having a stillbirth. So Molly told Dex she can't stop thinking about the things she had wanted to do with baby Irene, all the milestones she'll never have with her daughter. And then Molly and Dex also talked about Alexis being in prison awaiting trial on federal murder charges. Molly said she is really only happy at work right now, and she isn't the sister, partner, or daughter that she should be. And that was kind of the last tidbit of the scene with Dex. And then the next red flag cropped up when Molly showed up with breakfast to surprise TJ at the hospital the next day. That gesture that Molly made reminds me of when husbands bring home flowers when they know they did something bad and that you're going to be upset. You know, TJ was surprised to see Molly there, and then he asked, "Where were you last night?" She had texted him, and then he texted her, and then she never replied. Another red flag. If she was getting naked with the PCPD's newest cop, she wouldn't be answering text from her domestic partner. So when TJ was asking, Molly kind of looked away. She had, to me, a fishy look on her face. And then she told the truth that she was at this bar, ran into Dex, and they were talking about her mom's case. But that doesn't mean Molly told him the whole truth. So she didn't come home, and then TJ gave up and went to bed. And then she says she slept on the couch and snuck out early in the morning. Maybe. Or maybe she spent the night at Dex's place and snuck home early the next morning. You know, that is all very suspect and a giant red flag. And I do think it's totally plausible that Molly might do something she shouldn't while she is sad and grieving and boozing. She's talked so much about Kristina making bad decisions. I feel like Molly is going to make a bad decision that's going to come back to bite her. And it seems improbable Dex getting into Molly's bed. He and Josslyn are fine right now. He loves her. He's never come off as a cheater. But then again, you know, the writing team doesn't really respect character history when they decide they want to do something that violates that history. They just go ahead and do it. And to me, it definitely feels like Molly spent the night out with someone. Maybe Dex, maybe somebody random like the bartender. But here's my other thought. I wonder if they might do some sort of twist with all of Molly's talk about the universe giving her a sign that she's not meant to have a baby. If you don't remember, she has endometriosis and was told it's very unlikely that she'll get pregnant. That's what started her and TJ down the surrogacy path. But many women with endometriosis do get pregnant. Some of them need surgery. Some of them have to do IVF, but others, you know, a small number reasonably wind up pregnant out of basically sheer luck. So if Molly did indeed spend the night with another man, her turning up pregnant would be huge, especially if it was Dex's kid. That would be so super messy, but messy is what makes a good soap plot fun to watch. So have you seen these red flags with Molly's strange behavior after the night she spent out drinking with Dex? Do you think they had a drunken whoopsie and cheated on their partners? And, you know, how would you feel about that? Do you hope it's true, or do you hate the idea? Drop your comments. Please subscribe. Definitely come back soon. It's me, Belinda from Soap Dirt, talking General Hospital with you 7 days a week.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.